Hello, guys. We should be live streaming straight to our Facebook page.
We're live.
Welcome back.
We are live. We are live.
Yeah, it's working. We're so excited for today. Today's a much needed topic. This is a topic that comes up so many times when we're working with psychic mediums and healers. And it's how to deal with the negativity that's going to come with the work that you're doing. And this is a common one because there's obviously, we're humans, there's going to be negativity, especially when you're doing the work that you do and you're putting yourself out there in the world with a uncomfortable topic for some people, right?
Yeah, because you have so many different aspects. You're a psychic medium. Most people, they're not going to really understand that fully.
Right.
The work that you do, you're an entrepreneur. Because most of the people listening to this, they're psychic mediums, they're entrepreneurs, they have their own business. And most people are not an entrepreneur. They don't understand that. So you're in a world, two worlds, that the average person does not understand. So we're just living our lives. And if you worked, like when we were teachers, or if you're a doctor, you could go out in your everyday life, and those are more common jobs. Those are more common, right? People more than likely, every family, every person has somebody that they know who's a doctor or who's a teacher. So it's easier to connect with people. Like when you have problems as a doctor, as a teacher, you could just be with your friends, you could be out, and everything's fine because it's more of a normal career. Now enter psychic medium, being an entrepreneur. Whenever I became a coach, doing healing work, right, I noticed that it was a lot easier for me to connect with the average person as a teacher with my career than it is with me
more respected
coaching.
By some people.
Right, it's understood. It's more understood. So we're dealing with things that are not understood from the collective, from most people.
Right. That's why when we're talking to you, you're a psychic medium, you're a healer, most likely if you're listening to this page. If you're not, you're hearing the other side of things. You're hearing what we deal with on a daily basis or a monthly basis, that there's people out there. We stay very laser focused on who we're serving, but when you're at the beginning stages of your mission and you're putting yourself out there, you're going to have resistance and it's going to affect you, and it could actually stop you from going forward. So I see someone on here listening. If you could tell us in the chat that our audio is good, because the other day it was not good and nobody could hear us. So tell us, let us know if the audio is good. So one of the things that comes with the psychic mediumship, the healer, the coaching business, and I'm calling it a business, it's a mission. It's not just a business, it's a mission. Our heart's in it, we're helping people, is when you're trying to put yourself out there, you're trying to show up, you're visible for everyone to see. So that's a common one that's tough in the online world, if you're someone that's doing this online. Some people don't use online for their work, and that's okay too.
It is tough because as a psychic medium, empath, you feel other people's energy. So when you put yourself out there, you can, if you tune into it, which we all do at times, you feel other people's energy. You feel the intention that they're sending you, right? Even if you don't want to feel it, you'll just be on your walk, you'll be going to bed at night, and it'll hit you. And you'll just know. So you're dealing with that aspect too. You're not only dealing with the people that are in front of you saying things, like whether it's talking down about your business or they're saying passive aggressive things. That's one thing. But now you're dealing with the intangible realm too, with that energy. So you go to post your stuff online, you go to be in your power, and now you have to process all of this new energy, and that is a huge challenge.
Right. And
it can be.
And a lot of the clients that we work with share their personal hurts and their struggles with getting the courage to put themselves out there, and then they get, hit on the shoulder, in the heart, and they think, oh my gosh, I put myself out there, that was really hard. Now I'm getting criticism from my friends or my family or even strangers. I know for me it's so common that I ignore it, it doesn't hit me, but when it comes to even running ads online, if I have an event, there's always at least one person that shares you're a witch. That's one thing that comes up. Some other people will send a Bible verse to me and tell me that I need to be saved. This is a very common theme. So when it happens now, I just take it as I know it's going to happen. Everyone has different beliefs. But when I'm working with clients and they're genuinely about to stop their mission because they're getting these comments or they're having these conversations and they feel like, am I supposed to do this work? It's really heartbreaking because I know what it feels like to be in that position where your heart is on the line and you're affected.
Yeah. And you hit something on the head right there. You said now you just brushed off your shoulders. It
right.
Doesn't affect
it's
you
different
the same.
now.
And that's one of the keys, because if you look back at what you've been doing the last 9-10 years and plugging into different communities of other psychic mediums and getting mentored and doing your daily disciplines of what you do, there's a reason why it doesn't touch you. One of the reasons is you kept going. You didn't stop. Right. You didn't start your business for 4 months and then quit for 8 months and then go for 3 months and then quit for 8 months. Like, that's a common cycle we see over and over. People,
yes.
I've never seen you do that.
No, I haven't.
Another thing I noticed too is, like I said, you're plugged in and you're being mentored. You're in communities with other psychic mediums. You're sharing your thoughts and ideas with me because I understand. I'm in that same realm. So you have outlets, right? And that's one of the things that we've noticed with people that they end up quitting altogether. It's because they stop plugging into their outlets. That's one of the reasons. Obviously, this is very complex and we need to know what are they doing on a daily basis, like with exercise, nutrition, the way they're thinking, all of that matters. But another thing that really matters is, are they plugging into communities, right? So if you go back in your last 10 years and you say how you just brushed off your shoulders, think about that. What are the few things with you, maybe I've already said them, that helped you brush things off your shoulders now?
So for me personally, I'm always tapped into a community. You know, one of my favorite mentorships that I've taken is Mavis's mentorship. I speak so highly of Mavis still, and she still mentors me from the spirit world and still gives me information to do for myself as a medium, but also for my students and how I lead Mediumship Mastery Circle. She plugs in, she gives me the information. And if I didn't have that community, I wouldn't be where I was today, because she created a family, her and Jean together. There was a family. There was a feeling of knowing that I was coming home. I literally was going home because I was doing the mentorship in Boston, in my small town of Norwood, Mass. But that community, just knowing she was available to me and knowing that she did things with integrity was huge. So having a leader that you can learn from, that is in integrity, that has done the work, that's put in the time and energy, that not only does the mediumistic, the practice of mediumship, and she was doing her private readings, doing her group events, but also the inner work, the reflection, and all of that. That was vital to my growth.
Right, and Mavis is somebody who's had been doing that for many, many years already, right? So you were able to be around her energy, a mentor that was safe, that had the beliefs that you wanted to have. Mavis has been through the bad reading. She's been through getting hate from people in the industry. She's been through getting hate from family and friends. She's been through everything you've ever went through. Right. So just being around that energy, it reminds me of kind of like how you are with your Mediumship Mastery Circle, right? Now over the years, you've been mentored by Mavis. You've been through all of these different patterns, and we'll call them negative frequencies that are sent at you from a bad reading, from friends and family, whatever it may be, and you understand the patterns. So I think a lot of the power comes from also just being able to say that out loud, whatever it is. So like, you know, when you were in the mentorship with Mavis, maybe you would have a bad reading, we'll put in quotations. You didn't feel as good about it, but you knew that you could go talk about it at that mentorship, or you could go talk about it with me, or you knew you could go release. So having something that you're locked into, that you feel safe, that you feel like you can go home back to, right? That gives you power even when you're not there.
Exactly. It really does. Just having that energetic support. You don't know how much energetic support that you get until you step back and then realize that feeling of, oh, that came from that group, you know?
Right.
And sometimes our people that we work with, they say that. They're like, oh my gosh, we were in the 90-day business mastermind and I got more done in 90 days than I did in 15 years of my work. And then we step back from the group because they're not in the group during that time. They're like, I feel like I need that support again, just knowing that you're there. That's why they join the mediumship membership. to have that space. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I just did a whole reel about this the other day. The big mistake that people make after the mentorship, mediumship mentorship, any mediumship workshop or mentorship is they stop right there. It's important to continue a circle. I actually still meet with some of the same mediums that I went through mentorship with Mavis with. So we meet every single week still. And it's really powerful to know that you guys have been in the same space, you've been through it. And there's times where you're going to have moments of people coming and going, and that's okay too. That's happened also for me. So it's just remaining consistent with everything that you're doing with the mediumship practice.
Right, and not stopping, right? So think about it. Are you going to let negativity, are you going to let a bad reading, are you going to let somebody in the industry that's maybe talking bad about you, or a family and friend, or maybe you have some internal stuff going on to where you don't feel like you're enough. Are you going to let that stop you from your mission? Right? Because every time you stop for 3 months, every time you stop for a month, for 6 months, now you have to wind back up again. You have to wind it all back up again and create all that momentum. You know what I'm talking about if you've done that before. I've done that before in different ways, and it's not fun winding that back up, right? It's much easier to stay plugged into different communities like Mediumship Mastery Circle, where you got the support on a monthly basis. And then also schedule in your time to be alone, or to have vacation, we'll call it, or to have that free time throughout the year, right? We can't just quit. No. We can't just, in our mind alone, you can't quit in your mind. So think about it. Are you internally committed right now? Make a decision right now. Are you committed right now to your mediumship for the next 10 years, 20, for the next 50 years, for the next 60 years? Are you committed to it? Internally, an internal commitment to where you're going to do whatever it takes, even if it gets negative, because negativity is coming, right? Yeah. Positivity is coming too from it. I would say a lot more positive energy than negative energy, but sometimes that negative energy feels like it's way more because we focus on it longer.
Exactly. And it's exactly right. I remember doing one of my first group events. I used to do readings at people's houses all the time. Like I was doing back to back. I would go in, do 10 readings, and someone would come and get a 15-minute private reading in one room, then they tap the next person, then I'd give another reading, and it was like that. And I remember one of the first couple houses I went to, one of the ladies like, wait, where's the medium? I'm like, I'm the medium. I'm the medium. And I was like, at the time, I guess I was like 23 or 24 maybe at the time. And they're like, oh, I expected someone to look a lot older. I expected someone to look like, I think she joked around and said had a crystal ball or whatever. She didn't expect it to be me. And I knew that she was sort of resistant to this young girl coming in as a medium to give the reading. And that could have swayed me in the moment, the energy that she was coming at me with, like she was kind of shocked, and the way she said it. But I just kept on going, did my thing. Those types of situations, there's a lot of situations that could have stopped me, a lot. And luckily I had Tony, and I would come home and say like, listen, this thing happened. This person said this. I don't know how to handle it. And me being a very sensitive soul, highly sensitive in the way that my heart could hurt when something would happen, it was very easy for me to stop. But it's important to have that support system. And sometimes you don't have it from your partner. Sometimes you don't have it from your family and friends. So you have to look outside of, your bubble of what you're used to, and go to people that are doing it, that have been through it, or that are going through it right now, so that you don't stop, because it's going to be very tempting to stop your dreams.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and say most of the time, you don't have the support from your friends and family or your spouse.
Because they don't know
most of the time. And that's what it is. It's not because they hate you. It's not because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And when we don't understand things, right? When you don't understand something, how do you feel about it? Right? You're confused. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to take it. Give them time, right? But no matter what, even in the long term, like, you need a support system.
Well,
we all need a support system outside of our friends and family.
I'm even thinking about my mom, and she won't care that I share this because she always knows that
she'll hear it.
I know. She's watching this probably.
Hi, Debbie.
But when I first started doing readings, after Nick passed, she's like, I don't get where all this is coming from. And I'm like, I've been practicing. I've been taking classes. I'm getting intuitive information. And she's like, but I don't get it. Like, why wasn't this happening before? She was genuinely interested, and she was probably thinking, okay, what is Lindsay now doing? You know, I was
probably scared for her daughter.
Oh, exactly. So I'm like, I've been practicing. I've been tuning in. Like, I was doing everything and anything to connect with Nick. You know how I was pressing a recorder and asking questions at night, seeing if his voice would come on. I was doing automatic writing. I was reading the books. And then finally, when I started to get the healing and go to a medium, I wanted to be able to do this to help other people. So I was taking the classes. So, well, she said to me, she's like, well, okay, now, if Grandpa's coming through, I want him to say something that you wouldn't know. I'm like, all right. And at the time, I was up for that challenge to see what would come through. Now, I wouldn't want to be tested like that.
You'd be like, let's go have a coffee and talk about something else.
I would be like, no, I think you should go to another medium.
Yeah.
But at this time, I was at the beginning stages. So I needed, in my mind, to prove to people.
Yeah.
Because that's where I was at.
Right, because you didn't believe it all the way yourself.
I didn't believe it all myself. So there's a difference between the beginner stages, the amateur, medium that's coming into play, versus the one that's done the readings that I'm not going to get swayed by what people say. So I said, well, okay, fine. Let me see if he gives me anything that I don't know. And something did come through. It was about, it was a gold cross, which I didn't know my mom had, but it was his gold cross that she had in her drawer. And I don't know how I said it. I don't know how he came through to share it with me. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, yes, nobody knows, or you didn't know that I had this or whatever. So she had his gold cross with the gold chain. And I could see the way that the gold chain was. I don't know if it was white gold or gold. But after that, what started to happen was she told her friends that I didn't know that she worked with what I did, and they booked me for a group event at their house.
10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And now it happens every single year. Every time we go back home, she's got more friends ready for you.
No, it's true.
That's so funny going from there to there.
Exactly. So I went, and she went to that house, and that was the time where I was doing the type of reading where I would tap the next person after I did the reading. Each time someone would come down, they would be crying. And she was like, Lindsay, what are you saying to these people? Like, what's happening? So the reason I'm sharing this story, not because it's me and I'm trying to pep myself up to say that I was a good medium then.
You're such a great medium.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this because people that are closest to you, not all of them, but a lot of them, where they know you to be a certain way, it's going to be very uncomfortable to see you in a different light and not understand it. It's normal to not understand it. So it's through other people that don't know you that praise you or see something or get affected by a reading that's going to make others that know you more of a believer.
Right. Possibly.
You're going to
possibly if they're open to it.
Possibly if you're open to it. But let me tell you, most of the time when I was doing my work at the very beginning stages, and still to this day, more of the believers and the people that respect the work are more of people that I don't know rather than the people that I do know. And that happens.
Right, because the people that know, they're like, we've known you when you were in diapers.
Exactly. And I'm not saying
we changed your diapers. How the hell are you doing this work now?
But I'm saying no, because my mom's the biggest supporter.
No, I'm not talking about her. I was just talking.
No, I'm saying she's the biggest supporter now, so I can talk about this. That's why she doesn't care if I talk about it. But I'm sharing this because you need to see the other side of things when it comes to the work that we do. People might believe in you as a person, but they might not believe in the work that you do. And there's a separation with that too. Mm. Like people knew that I was going to do things with integrity. They might not believe in mediumship, but because they believe in my integrity, it caused them to maybe think of mediumship in a different way. I have a friend that just told me that the other day, and we talk about it, and she's like, that I wasn't a believer in this sort of thing. But over time, I realized that you're going to do things with integrity. And she got a reading, and when she was ready, she wanted a reading, and it made her a believer. So there's so many flip sides to the stories of this type of work. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I explaining it clearly?
And it's because your posture, too, what helped make these people believer. Over time, you kept your posture where I noticed because I was watching her, she's never trying to convince somebody of it.
But at the beginning it was.
Well, over time. As you learn at the beginning, over time, you learn to have your posture to where you're not trying to convince anybody. You understand that this is sacred and that the only way that they're going to really believe is, like you said, having some kind of experience for themselves.
And they might have to go through to, really, it's better to get a reading from someone outside the family.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. I mean, I've given readings to family and stuff, but sometimes I refer family members to medium friends so that they can get the information from someone else too.
And then at the end of the day, here's the best thing about this. If you just continue to plug away, continue to do your readings week after week, continue to show up, continue to grow internally, do your internal work, continue to increase your posture, right? All this stuff we're talking about, and maybe you're there right now. Hopefully you are. It's not going to affect you, right, in a way that it's going to stop you from continuing your business. Matter of fact, it's going to get to the point to where it adds fuel to your business. When people do this to you, it just fuels your mission even more because you know, right? Over time, will some things still affect you? Yeah, you're a human. But overall, for some of you that are like starting your business and stopping, starting your business and stopping, and doing that in your mind, doing that physically, right? Just know that if you just stay plugged away, consistent, you build up this power. You build up this boundary, we'll call it, this energy that's coming off of you, this belief in yourself, in the work that you do, in the spirit realm, and people feel it. And then the resistance stops as much over time. Sometimes it speeds up in other ways, but you know what it is. You're like, oh, that's resistance. I know how to process that.
And you're going up
and
levels when you're getting resistance at times.
That's what it is, because you're constantly rising. So when you're at that next level, you'll get resistance there. But
you'll
going through, you're going to handle it way more powerfully, because that's the point of this. This work is educating you. Every time you have a negative reading, every time you get negativity from somebody or from external force outside, it's educating you if you allow it, right? Just feel that education, feel that wisdom pour into you, feel that energy coming back to you and posturing you into this space within yourself that you need to be in if you want to continue this mission over the long haul.
Exactly. And I keep thinking, for some reason, Joel Osteen keeps popping up to me. I don't know much about Joel Osteen, but I will say if I see him on TV, I get hooked into what he's talking about, and I truly believe in his word, and he didn't even want to be up there doing what he's doing.
Yeah, like most of us, right? Like most of the people
naturally
in the public
introverted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be, even on this video years ago, I wouldn't want to be, but I know that my mission's bigger than my fear and my uncomfortable feeling of being out there, how it used to be. Now I'm comfortable. But with him, I think about the information that he's giving to people. And then there's another side to it where there's some people that no matter what he says, no matter what he does behind the scenes, they will never think that it's enough. They will think that he's doing things for a different purpose.
Yeah, for money or this or that.
So it's important that people are going to see you how they see you, but you know internally how you are. And I think this is a big message to give to psychic mediums and healers. Don't let the uncomfortability of other situations outside of yourself stop you for your mission, because your mission is powerful and you're sharing the ability to connect to the other side or to help people, help the grieving, however it is, and your heart. And that's the one thing that really stays with me in the work that I do personally, and I know for you too, is we know why we're doing this work, and we have a why that's threaded through us. And when you know your why, you're going to help even more people, and you're going to stick with what you're doing, and you're not going to let anyone or anything stop you no matter what.
Yes, and we will say you work on, I work on my why every single day.
Yes.
On the clarity around it, because it is the fuel, and then it turns all this positive energy, all this negative energy that's coming at you, you'll learn to turn that to fuel too.
Right.
By getting down and centered into your why. You'll see the negative stuff, the bad reading, the hate, whatever it is. You'll know how to process that, and whoa, I got more fuel from that. You'll see the positivity, the great readings, the people come at you saying, oh my God, you transformed my life, you healed my life. Obviously, that's your fuel as well. So you're locked in. right?
Right.
You're in this positive world, this negative world. It's made of both. And now you found a way of being to use it all as fuel.
And you're doing it in front of people. That's the hardest part. I don't think that people get it that are not psychic mediums and healers that are putting themselves out there. If you're putting yourself out there visibly, online, if you are doing it in front of strangers, it's actually easier than doing it in front of family and friends that are on your page. There's been times where I thought, I think I'm ready to delete my friends and family on my page and have that be a separate page so that they don't have to see the business piece. They don't need to go through all those pieces.
Just pick up the damn phone and we'll talk on the phone if we're friends and family. You know what I mean?
That's kind of one thing that I've thought too, where it's easier not to be in the light, because then when you're actually hanging out with friends and families, you don't feel like talking about your mission at that time. You want to savor it for the clients and the work that you're doing for the people that need you. And it might not be family and friends, you know, they're not your clients. They're not your customers most of the time. So, and sometimes they are. Sometimes they need to hear the message if it's meant for them. It's genuine,
you'll feel it.
But it's a part of this process. And I want to hear from psychic mediums and healers that are watching this right now. What can you resonate with this? What types of things pop out to you when you hear us talking about this? Has any kind of negativity come to you where it almost stopped you in what you were doing, or it did stop you from what you were doing? And before we end this episode, there's 2 exciting things that are coming up. Well, there's a lot of events coming up, so definitely stay up to date with those, because there's some events coming up. Santa Rosa Beach is one, a Heart to Hearts with Heaven. What else do we have? There's so many different things.
Got the free class on June 22nd.
Yes, June 22nd, which is actually a week from today, next Thursday. If you're a psychic medium or healer, you're a medium, you want a community, you want to know what impact could happen when you're in a community. This is for your mediumship skills. This is for your mission. You want to be there. It's free. It's easy. You just sign up. You go on Zoom. We'll meet.
It's like an hour or 2.
It's probably going to be about an hour and a half. And we already have tons of mediums that are already signed up and ready to go. So if you're someone that wants to grab their seat, definitely check it out. I'm just going to make sure I can see these comments because someone's commenting underneath. And I love it. And
he said, I try not to read. Who's that? William. I try not to read for family and friends. Exactly.
And Angel says, dude, way easier in front of strangers.
Way
yes,
easier.
It is.
Way easier, Angel. Definitely. I always tell Lindsay that. I'm like, I'd rather do events in just random cities where we don't know anybody.
Right.
That's the best.
That's the easier part,
you feel
right?
Free.
Yeah. So, so the next thing, if you're not signed up, which I think some of you guys are already, that are watching this live, if you're not signed up for this community workshop, you definitely want to be there. You want to know the benefits of surrounding yourself in a community. And the reason that I'm doing this workshop is because it links in to my paid membership for mediums. And there's importance of finding a group, whether it's my group, Mediumship Mastery Circle, where you're surrounded with mediums. We have guest teachers coming on to help you with your mission, your business, the pieces that are so important with the mindset. Tony comes in too. There's so many facets of being a medium in this world, and you need support. You need as much support as you give to other people. If you want to benefit your clients, you have to receive the support yourself. If your clients are investing in you, it's important for you to invest the time, energy, and money into bettering yourself in some way, whether it's in Mediumship Mastery Circle or someplace else. But I just know the things that I put in there was exactly what I needed as a medium. It's the time to practice in a circle with other mediums. It's the opportunity to have guest expert teachers teaching you on someone that's coming in. She's going to talk about trauma and the importance of knowing about trauma when you're working with your mediumship clients, or you're dealing with your own trauma when it comes to living here on Earth. We have Heidi coming in. Heidi's going to be teaching all about chat, GPT, and she's going to talk about that and how that can help your clients, whether it's connected to resources and finding fast ways to get them, get the resources to your clients. There's so many things that we have in that group. And
then right now, over the next 2 months, I'll be doing one-on-one clarity, deep coaching sessions with each
Yes.
member.
And that's part of the membership right now.
Part of the membership.
So that's a special that everyone's been getting huge benefits.
So you're getting the whole medium covered, right? We have our human side, we're mediums, we're powerful, we create the magic, but we can't forget that human side. We can't forget our nutrition. We can't forget our mindset, right? So you're covering the whole medium in Mediumship Mastery Circle.
Yeah. And it's just like doing one reading each month, just adding that piece to it. And also being able to connect and post in the group, hey, I had a situation come up and I need guidance on this.
Right.
And on the third Tuesday of every month, that's one thing that we do is we do a Q&A time too, along with the practice circle. Because I'm having so many people over the years inbox me and say, listen, Lindsay, I've had this situation come up in my reading, or I have this event coming up, or I have this going on and I need advice. What would you recommend? And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm answering the same question for all different mediums. Some mediums that were doing it for 20 years, some that are brand new. And I found that, okay, it's spending a lot of time in my inbox writing to these people to answer the questions, but also it's doing a disservice because other mediums could benefit from these answers. So having that as a piece to the mediumship membership is so valuable so that you know you're not alone. You guys all have the same questions and all have the same experiences. We've all gone through it. So why not be in a group and see it, you know?
So when you go and you do your readings week after week, day after day, well, now every month you have that to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
When you have that bad negative energy that comes at you, you can bring it to the group and share it, right? Because it's valuable for everybody. It's not like you feel bad, oh, I don't want to put this on people. No, that's what this is for. And Mediumship Mastery Circle is when Lindsay, like what she said, other mediums we're all going through similar negative patterns. We're all going through
And
similar positive patterns, right? So it's celebrating the positivity and negativity. And it's wild how much alike we all are at the core.
Yeah.
And that's the value
And you
of
need
it.
a space to be celebrated. You need to feel comfortable not feeling funny about celebrating something that good happened or a positive experience with your reading and not feel uncomfortable sharing that. You should feel comfortable. You need to have a supportive group. I've been in groups where there's not support, and I've been in groups that there are supportive mediums. And there's a big difference energetically when you feel like people are for you and want you to succeed versus people that have animosity or energy towards you that doesn't feel right. You need to have that support.
Right, it needs to feel safe for you to mess up, right? Like you go to these monthly, when you're practicing your readings, it's okay to mess up in front of everybody in Mediumship Mastery Circle, right? It's safe to do that. Where some places I've been, where you don't feel that safety. You feel like you gotta like perform and it's like, no, you're here to be real because that's what creates the best results. And that's what the practice is about, because when you go out into the real world, we'll say, and you're bringing that authenticity, that you're fearless, you're not worried about, oh, I need to do this reading perfect, that's when you're going to have the best reading. So you need to practice that way too. And that's the value of Mediumship Mastery Circle is, I've heard people say they feel safe being there. Mm-hmm. So you don't got to feel embarrassed if you had a bad reading or if you ask a stupid question, we'll say on Q&A, whatever it is, like we're all here to be perfectly imperfect and human and put everything on the line, because over the years we realized that's the way we were able to grow and maintain and stay in the game, right? Stay in the industry, and we'll be here 10 years from now, 20 years from now. A lot of people won't be because they're not plugged in.
Or they're not able to receive. And that's an uncomfortable feeling for some mediums. It was uncomfortable for me at different points, but I'm always going to be a student. I'm always going to be receiving, and I'm always going to be giving. And it's an energetic exchange that you need to sustain your mission here. It's going to be about receiving, not only giving. If you're finding there's an imbalance, most likely you're giving, but you're not receiving. So ask yourself that question. Am I receiving enough? Am I receiving as much as I'm giving to my clients? And if you're not going to be the best you can be for your clients.
So before we get off here, think about the 3 biggest negative energies, we'll call them, whether it's a bad reading or some kind of negative energy from the outside world coming at you over the next 6 months. Think about those 3, anticipate it, right? So think about what that will be. And then write down those 3 negative energies, and then write down your response. Not how you're going to react to them when they happen. How are you going to respond to them, right? This might sound negative. You want to focus on positivity and creating a vision. Look, Negativity will happen over the next 6 months. The more prepared you are for it, just like an athlete, with someone throwing a fastball or a curveball and they study that and they know what's coming, if you know what's coming, you're going to be more responsive. And when you respond, you're in your power. When you react, you're out of your power.
Yes. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we can't wait to see you next one. Bye, guys.